Unlike people who suffer from Todd, people who have to do. Don't imagine that expressing an opinion on everything makes them the solution to America's problems. Now, here's how you know. I like you. Here's how you know if you suffer from Todd. If the daily outrage cycle becomes your entire personality and you scroll all day to find the outrage, then screenshot the thread, then post the screenshot with the caption, "This." During most primetime nights, less than 1% of the country is watching Fox News, CNN, and MS Now combined. A guy on TikTok pressure washing his driveway gets bigger ratings.
Somewhere along the line, people forgot. Not every opinion needs a press conference. Not every disagreement is a moral emergency. And not every online squabble is the end of the world. Bill Maher's rant cuts through that nonsense. We live in a time where scrolling is seen as civic duty and posting as personality. Maher's point points out people care about everything, at max volume, making life dumber, meaner, and exhausting. Once saying I am a dog person or I don't like cats was harmless. Now it sparks digital wars. Strangers act like it's a hate crime. Mars. Comedy exposes the absurdity. The normal reaction is move on. The online reaction is screenshot, repost, dramatize, call a digital army to defend feline honor.
You don't have to react to everything, or have a hot take on everything, or care if someone says they don't like cats. You know, it wasn't that long ago when the most banal question you could ever ask someone was, are you a cat person or a dog person? Well, those innocent days are over, as actors Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley found out recently when they were asked that and said they don't like cats. And the internet coughed up a furball of rage. How dare they? They don't like cats, but I do. Then one of us must. Jessie Buckley even said she made her husband give their cat away. So what? They gave it away. They didn't have it sewn into a coat.
That's exactly the disease. Mars is mocking and it's real. You know, the type people who wake up, grab their phone, and start hunting for something to be mad about before their feet hit the floor. They aren't living. They're patrolling the internet. Like hall monitors looking for bad takes, problematic jokes, or unpopular opinions so they can perform outrage. It's not enough to disagree, they have to announce it. Frame it as a crisis and act like reposting it makes them heroes. The real point Mars makes isn't just that they're annoying, it's that they're way overrepresented online compared to how much they matter in real life. The internet makes a few loud people feel like the whole country is screaming. It tricks us into thinking America is in permanent emotional meltdown, like every breakfast table is one bad tweet from a UFC.
They're not trying to outlaw cats. They're not eating them like Haitians. They just said they don't like them. That's allowed. People are allowed to have an opinion you don't share without you reacting. It's just a cloud. Let it pass. But no, that's not how a certain kind of people these days think. For them, having a phone to post from is like hosting a one-person episode of The View that never ends.
In reality, most people aren't living like that. Most are just trying to get to work on time, pay bills, make dinner, keep kids from losing it in the back seat, and maybe grab one peaceful moment before the day ends. The problem is, if you live online too long, you start thinking the performance is reality. Every hashtag is a movement. Every pylon is public opinion. Every trending topic a national emergency. It isn't. Most of it is just content. Outrage is profitable, anger gets clicks. Conflict drives engagement. Algorithms don't care about truth or balance. They care about keeping your thumb scrolling, and nothing does that better than rage. So people feed it, exaggerate it, turn every disagreement into a blood sport, every preference into political identity. You don't just dislike opera anymore. Now you're anti-culture, anti-intellectual, maybe even anti-human flourishing.
Remember that the next time you read the words Twitter reacts or backlash erupts or internet explodes, the internet didn't explode. Some Gen Z loser at the Daily Beast and some right-wing poster exploded. No one else cared. The media would have you think that we're all at each other's throats all the time. But it's actually just a tiny minority who are on and in media and social media and who just want to fight and bitch about everything, leaving the false impression that America is hopelessly divided. But most people aren't hopelessly trapped in a news silo.
You don't just think a movie was overrated. Now it's like you've exposed your entire moral framework to public review. You can't just say that's not my thing because someone somewhere will treat it like violence, and that's why Maher's jab at the online tolerance crowd hits so hard. These are the same people who preach acceptance, openness, diversity nonstop. But the second someone says something outside the approved script, they lose it. Diversity of background. Great diversity of identity. Absolutely diversity of opinion. Whoa, let's not get crazy. The branding says tolerance, the behavior says conformity. You're allowed to be yourself, right up until being yourself means having an opinion they don't like.
You just wake up so refreshed. I kid ballet, and I'm sure it's a great place to meet anorexics, but most people are watching Dancing with the Stars. That's why tonight I am asking the American Psychiatric Association to add a new disorder to the Diagnostic Manual of Mental Disorders. Terminally online disease.
That same pattern shows up in media, and Maher goes after it. Hard, he's brutal on those so-called discussion spaces that are really just applause chambers with better lighting the panels where everyone already agrees. Repeats the same talking points, and the one person who pushes back is treated like they tracked mud across the carpet. That's not debate, that's choreography. A performance of conversation without risk. And viewers can feel it, even if the people on screen pretend. They can. The problem is, when that becomes the model, people stop learning to handle disagreement like adults. Everything turns into a pylon, everything a loyalty test. You're either with us or against us, fully aligned or morally suspect. No room for humor. No room for nuance. No room for saying, I don't know. That seems extreme, and once you lose that middle space, you lose the ability to have a normal society because normal societies need people to hear things they dislike without demanding a tribunal.
X now only has 1 out of 10 Americans visit it daily. 80% of us don't even have it. Sure, it has 500 million posts every day, but half of them come from the owner. Turns out it really is like a town square, specifically Times Square in the 70s. Dirty, sketchy, and mostly full of perverts and losers with nothing better to do. Yes, I'm looking at you, all the people who lost it because Timothy Chalamet said no one cares about opera and ballet. Which prompted so many who have never been to the ballet or opera with no plans to go to rise up and say, I have a dog in this fight.
And this is where Maher really hits the difference between online life and real life. Most people aren't that ideological. They're not spending Tuesday afternoon in spiritual collapse because a celebrity doesn't enjoy ballet. They're not writing essays over a talk show. Hosts' mildly irritating opinion? They're not tracking every feud between pundits, influencers, and professional controversy merchants. Most Americans honestly don't know or care about half the people running these digital screamfests, and that drives the outrage class insane because their whole identity depends on pretending their niche obsessions are everyone's emergency.
TOD, or Todd. People experiencing Todd feel intense emotional distress from spending all day doom scrolling on their phone. And these people need your help because Todd doesn't just affect those who suffer from it, it also affects their families and loved ones who aren't terminally online. These are the ones we call people who have to do.
Think about how freeing that is. Most people aren't trapped in the same loop. They're not terminally online, they're terminally busy with jobs, kids, errands, deadlines, appointments, aging parents, grocery lists, dishes in the sink, and 1,000 practical concerns that leave no room for fake moral heroism on social media. They don't scroll through every controversy because real life demands their attention. They don't have the time or energy to turn every headline into a battle for the soul of the republic. That's why Maher's fake diagnosis of terminally online disease is funny, but it works because it feels true. We all know people infected by it, people whose mood is controlled by whatever they saw on their phone in the last 20 minutes. People who can't let anything slide. People who treat posting like activism, sarcasm, like wisdom, and screen time like public service.
Unlike people who suffer from Todd, people who have to do. Don't imagine that expressing an opinion on everything makes them the solution to America's problems. Now, here's how you know. I like you. Here's how you know if you suffer from Todd. If the daily outrage cycle becomes your entire personality and you scroll all day to find the outrage, then screenshot the thread, then post the screenshot with the caption, "This."
The joke lands because we've all met that person. Maybe at work, maybe in the family, maybe even been them a bad week. This isn't about never caring. People should care about real problems, but constant outrage flattens everything, mixes trivial nonsense with real injustice until nothing matters if every disagreement is oppression. Real emergencies lose force. You can't stay at emotional DEFCON 1 forever. People are burned out, tired of lectures, eggshells, and fake nobility.
People with real lives don't do this because they've got to do. They haven't poured over every email in the Epstein files because they have their own mail to sort through, like the electric bill and the gas bill. Right now, there's a big fight going on between Megyn Kelly and Ben Shapiro about Candace Owens. And as it plays out, it's very important to remember that the most common reaction to it from Americans is, "I don't know who any of these people are."
That exhaustion is why Mars lands. He says what normal people feel. This is too much, too loud, too sanctimonious. The loudest often have the least perspective. The internet pretends to be reality, but it's a carnival mirror. Making fringe voices? Huge spend enough time there. And you think everyone is furious, but step outside, most people aren't performing ideology. They're just getting through the day. Not everything is a battlefield. Not every opinion needs correcting. Sometimes people just don't like cats or care about opera. And that's okay. Lose that shrug and culture becomes a humorless HR department. It's not progress, it's paralysis, making people performative, suspicious, and point scoring instead of understanding.
During most primetime nights, less than 1% of the country is watching Fox News, CNN, and MS Now combined. A guy on TikTok pressure washing his driveway gets bigger ratings. 76% of Americans watch less than 1 hour of any cable news in a month. You thought opera was getting its kick. If you ask most Americans what their opinion of Tulsi Gabbard is, their answer is going to be, "What's a Tulsi Gabbard?"
And maybe that's why Maher's rant hits so hard beneath the jokes he's defending something basic. The right to be a normal, flawed human with preferences, opinions, and dumb takes without a digital firing squad. Maybe the cure is simple. Log off, breathe. Let people be wrong without making it your full-time job. Stop confusing attention with importance. Stop treating online noise like national consensus. And for the love of sanity, stop seeing every petty cultural fight as the final boss. The country isn't non-stop internet feuds. Most people live in a messier, calmer real world the outrage machine wants you. Reactive, exhausted, but step back, and the spell breaks. Most of this isn't real. It's theater monetized chaos. A loud minority pretending their obsessions are universal. They're not. The sooner people realize that, the sooner the performance loses its grip. Mars hits the woke outrage crowd hard, but it resonates beyond left versus right. It's about reclaiming common sense, refusing to play along, laughing at the absurdity, keeping perspective, focusing on real life. Because outside the algorithm hashtags and fake emergencies, the world is full of ordinary people with far more important things to do.